How are you living in rhythm with your canvas? How are you living in rhythm with your canvas? I might have to take a step back because we starting to get into it. It was a slow start, I'm not gonna lie, but we into it now. Peace. Welcome back to MYCOL Academy, where we master our code, nurture our growth, and find our way through life together. My name is MYCOL. I'll be your guide today. And today we're talking all about trees. More specifically, how trees actually saved my life. And for all of those who are wondering, what do you mean trees saved your life? Trees provided me a guide for me throughout my 20s. And for all who don't know, you're probably wondering, like, this dude giving game, doing this, doing that. How old is he? How much experience he got? Well, I'm officially 26 years old, or shall I say years young. Yet I feel like I've been here for many lifetimes, and not just spiritually, yet also physically, being someone that has observed, listened, asked questions, and just been an overall liver of life. I've been able to filter through experiences that have been mine and not. And I've been able to learn from my parents' generation, their parents' generation, so AKA my grandparents, but also the generation of mine and the generation after mine. So I've been compiling all these different experiences and formulating my unique perspective on life. And I'm excited to share that with you today. So if you are in your 20s or you're younger or older and just looking for a guide in your life and or you're curious, how did trees save this man's life? Well, you're in for a treat today because we're going to be diving into it deep. Let's go. So to start everything off, trees saved my life. A guide to thriving in your 20s. This guide explores the transformative power of trees and their lessons for personal growth. Trees offer wisdom and patience, resourcefulness, harmony, engagement, and groundedness. So let's embark on a journey of healing and transformation inspired by the beauty and resilience of nature. The reason why I chose trees to talk about in today's lesson is they've been instrumental in not only how I see life, yet they've been instrumental in what it means for me to be a young man, to be a being on this earth, yet also in my relationships. And more specifically, my relationship to my mental, my emotional, and my physical body, and how that relates to friends, family, coworkers, community members, XYZ. And man, I'm going to be telling like 3 different aspects today. One is going to be like one personal story of how it saved my life. The second is going to be, what the tree framework is in MYCOL Academy. And then the third is like how this can apply to you. So it's going to be me, trees, and you. Cool? Let's get into it. My personal connection to trees. For one, I found solace. Trees provided a sense of peace and connection to nature. 2, listening to nature. Trees spoke to me in a way they never had before. 3, finding a home. Trees offered a sense of refuge and belonging. And lastly, 4, an evolving relationship. My connection to trees evolved into a way of life. What do I mean when I say finding solace and trees provided a sense of peace and connection to nature? There was a point in time where I was working at this, I don't know what you want to call it, fintech company. And it was the most money I was making in my life. I had just gotten furloughed from the panty wanny and money was tight. And honestly, I was persevering through creative projects, yet I didn't quite have my personal finances together, to keep it simple. And I was working on a specific project and one of my homies was like, hey, somebody he know works for this company. They doing this hiring spree right now. He was thinking about applying and, he felt like it could be a great idea if I was interested. I said, all right, if you going for it, I'm gonna go for it. Let's see what's up. And literally we both went through the cohort and it was an amazing experience. It was fully remote, work from home, all the benefits. It was everything I never had at that moment in time. And I was exposed to people all over this country that I could connect to, not only in the work environment, but also personally. Like there were so many like similarities and synchronicities where I was like, this might be a good fit for me. And it's to the point I even got family members and friends of mine into it. I'm like, hey, I just got this job, you know what I'm saying? The pay good, benefits good. Yeah, some work. But if you want to, you can make some bread, you know, for however long you need it, and you can do what you need to do. And that was a benefit to them, yet it was also a benefit to me. Why am I telling you all of this story? Because even though I found a sense of fulfillment in the financial aspect, I lost a sense of myself, because what I was doing was constantly working to solve other people's problems, but there was really no solution. It was just a redirection. And that really took a toll on me after time, because as someone who really values being of value and offering things that I can stand behind and stand with and stand on, to be in that position and just be redirecting here, redirecting there, going through this script, and it's not really solving the percentage of what it solved versus the percentage of what the job didn't solve was an astronomical difference. There was very few people where they actually got their problem solved. And there were so many more who just got lost in the void of just redirection and escalation and XYZ. And it took a toll on me, because I'm like, what impact am I having on my community? What impact am I having on humanity? Yeah, I'm making money, but there's people every day calling about problems that'll never get solved within this system. What can I do about that? And that uprooted so much for me that we'll dive deeper into today. Yet it just showed me that like I am willing and wanting to be of service on this earth. Yet at the same time, I'm not willing to compromise who I am for the paycheck. So I learned a lot about myself in this position, and I ended up needing to turn to nature. By going outside, meditating and doing certain things, I was allowing myself to like decompress from everything that was going on at work, and it assisted, like it helped, but it wasn't a complete resolve. And in the process of that, trees were there for me. And we'll dive more into that as to why, yet it was a very magical experience. I'm gonna be completely honest with you. There is a little bit of some, you know what I'm saying, in this mug, where during that time period, I was also smoking, man. I was smoking trees. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm gonna be completely honest. And I would often find myself becoming so stressed out that not only was I smoking off the clock, like as soon as 5 o'clock hit, what's up? I'm chilling, listening to music, doing what I do, decompress. It got my experience at that time became so stressful. I started smoking on the clock, on breaks, on lunch, and it just became the cyclical nature of being in a state of unwell. And I wasn't liking the way my mental state was headed and my emotional state was headed. We'll dive more into the specifics of this story throughout this class. Yeah, finding solace, listening to nature, finding a home, and an evolving relationship all happened because of trees. The trees I was smoking, the trees I was making, and the trees that I was communing with outside. All of these trees together built this ecosystem of experiences that allowed me to really learn more about myself, my inner world, my outer world, and what the relationship of all of that was. So I'm gonna be bouncing around today. I pray y'all can follow me. This is how my brain works. In the aspect of creating MYCOL Academy, I thought to myself, what are different ways that not only can I relate to nature, I can also relate to personal experiences of mine. And trees have been prominent in my life. And I love breaking down words and reworking them in the way that not only do they work for me, they can work for you. And I felt like, what's a cool way to share with others how trees can transform your life? And I was like, well, the T can stand for time. The R can stand for resources. The E can stand for energy. The other E can stand for environment, and the S can stand for self. So time, resources, energy, environment, and self. I was like, those are the keys of trees for me. That was a holy grail in my life that I didn't know I was growing and going through that framework when in and out of different up and down experiences. Yet when I took a step back and looked at it from a third party perspective and was like, how can I practically apply this in a way where someone else could pick up my experiences and use them for their own life? I was like, that's it. How you use your time, how you use your resources, how you use your energy, how your environment is impacting you, AKA, which is all leading to yourself. I said, that's it. So the trees framework. Trees are Earth's gentle giants. Their roots anchor to the past and branches reach towards the future. They're the keepers of ancient wisdom, whispering resilience and growth to those who listen. Whispering resilience and growth to those who listen. I'm gonna go through this and then we'll come back through the whole, break it down piece by piece. Time is the river of moments flowing from the past through the present and into the future. It's the canvas upon which we paint our lives. Time is the canvas upon which we paint our lives. Resources. The tools, people, and support systems that empower us on our journey. They are the threads that weave strength and resilience into our lives. So here we go. Hold on. Because this is powerful in itself. I truly do believe trees are a form of our ancestors. The way trees have been here to provide so much love, so much shade, so much shine, and just so much life to us in such a selfless way. It reminds me of a great grandmother or a great grandfather or someone in your life that is, the ways of the old, but that give to the new. Trees remind me of the ways of the old that give to the new in an ever unfolding cycle. They allow us to learn from our very environment, very things that might be new, such as technology, and they're timeless. Trees have been here since we've been here, and they're going to be here after we're here. And I firmly believe that. It was very interesting for me to break it down in this way of trees being those gentle giants that anchor to the past. If you've listened to our previous classes where we talk about the power of the root system, the root is the foundation of your truth, and the truth is the bread, breeds your fruit. So in order to fully have access to what you consider success, what you consider happiness, what you consider joy, what you consider peace, what you consider purpose, what you consider fulfillment, you have to dig to your root, because your root reveals your truth and your truth will reveal your fruit. And that is what's valuable in the marketplace. That's what's valuable in the world. The fruit in which you bear. And we can identify the trees in the fruit that they produce. So if you're starting to see the symbolism, we are trees. Symbolically, we are trees. We grow, we evolve, we expand, we share, we love, we die, we are reborn, we produce fruits, we produce seeds. And in the system that we create for our ecosystem, it creates habitat for so much life. This goes into the branches being towards the future, because what we reach out and connect to is for the next generation. So it's truly timeless, which is why the time part is so important, because it's the canvas upon which we paint our lives. Imagine if you took a step back and you looked at time as a canvas, not a clock that's counting down or counting up on your life. It's just a blank canvas. Time is a canvas upon which you choose to paint what you want on your life. When we look at time in this fashion, we can start to learn that time isn't this impeding construct that's constantly taking from me that I don't have or that I might be wasting. No, time is an opportunity to live and to create what it is you desire in this life. And what do we do that through? Resources. So time, let's say time is the rhythm of our life. And it keeps track. It's the BPM of our life. It's not necessarily increasing or decreasing. It's a neutral construct. It's a neutral energy that allows us to just stay in beat, stay on rhythm, stay in time, like music. And then on that beat, on that BPM, we choose how we want to inflect our voices high or live our lives high or have gratitude for the high or dip down into the low and speak from a lower frequency. And it's all about how to flow through the lows. All of these different frequencies are just on this spectrum of consistent BPM, consistent rhythm. So I want you to ask yourself, how are you living in rhythm with your canvas? How are you living in rhythm with your canvas? I might have to take a step back because we starting to get into it. It was a slow start, I'm not gonna lie, but we into it now. And that flows right into the resources. Your rhythm determines your resources and what you're able to trade with. And what are your resources based on? That energy. The vibrant hues that color our experiences. They are the language of our souls, guiding us towards growth and transformation. Our energy guides us towards growth and transformation when we are speaking the language of our souls, aka our nature. Our nature. And what is nature? Our environment and how we engage with it. It's the garden of our lives where we plant seeds of intention and cultivate a nurturing space for growth. It's the stage upon which we dance with life. It's the stage. Our environment is the stage upon which we dance with life. And how do we dance with life? Using that energy with our sacred, energetic life force, ourselves, the divine spark within us. Connecting us to the infinite wisdom and creative power of the universe. It's the wellspring of our inspiration and the source of our strength. Are you hearing this right now? Are you hearing this? So we got trees. Trees are the guiding ancestors of wisdom, resilience, patience over our lives. Trees give us direction. When you're stuck in the forest, you're not stuck. You're in a new reality to be reborn. Whether that's in the city, whether that's in the forest, whether that's in the jungle, whether that's in the sea, there's trees everywhere. Trees are connected to the plants. Trees are connected to the animals. Trees are connected to the waters. Trees are connected to the air. Trees are what keeps life lifing. They keep the cycle going. Without trees, there'd be no us. Without us, there'd be no trees. So now that we have this symbiotic relationship, we got time. And time is the rhythm in which that flow flows. Time is the river of moments flowing from the past to the present through the future. It's just a flow, a continuous flow. And the resources are what you find within that river. What do you find within your time? What do you find within your rhythm? What do you find on your canvas? Huh? What you finding on your canvas? Yet in order to use what you find, you gotta have the energy. That energy towards growth and transformation. the vibrant hues of color. Our energy is what brings color to our lives. That's why when you find somebody that don't got the energy, they're dull, they're gray, they're stale. You don't want that in your life. Yes, it happens. Yeah, we want to be colorful, like a blooming garden, like the blooming trees, like a blooming love. Which that leads to what? Our environment, how we engage with our environment. And why is that beautiful? Because that garden, those hues are painting the canvas, the rhythm, the time, with the resources, the paint, with the energy of the colors that breathe that garden of our lives, where we plant seeds of intention and cultivate a nurturing space for growth. Being the stage, the garden is the stage upon which we dance with life. So not only are we painting on that rhythm of that time with the resources and energy and colors we have, now that we got this beautiful canvas, we can, hey, hit them falls. Hey, hit them falls. Hey, hit them falls. Hey, you better, hey, hit them falls. Hey, hit the falls. Hey, hit the falls. Hey, you better. Hey. We're gonna have water breaks and dance breaks every so often, just to make sure it's flowing through our bodies. Do you hear me? Do you feel me? Do you see me? Because I see you, I hear you, and I feel you. I said, I hear you. I see you. And I feel you because our sacred, energetic life force is connected. The divine spark within all of us, connecting us to the infinite wisdom of the creative power of the universe. Whatever you believe in, there is a sacred thread that weaves together all of our lives, whether you want to accept it or not. And that is the wellspring of our inspiration and the source of our strength, because we are stronger together, and trees breed connection. So you can see just in a nutshell how powerful trees are for me and why this framework, it's life-changing. Now you might be down in the dumps and be like, okay, but what does this have to do with me? You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, you say we all together. Yeah, you say the garden and the environment. Yeah, you say energy. Yeah, you say time. You say all of this, but I don't have it. I gotta work a 9 to 5. So what we talking about? Huh? I got these kids and these kids get on my damn nerves. So what you talking about? Oh, I got these responsibilities and these bills breaking that back. So what are we talking about? Well, I had this pain in this leg for I don't know how many years. And then what is you talking about? How trees gonna fix this pain in my leg? Well, let's dive on a journey and we can find out how together. How about that? Cool? Cool. Let's talk about time. Let's really dive into time, because that's one thing people say they don't have is time. And I've even been a victim of saying, man, I ain't got the time for XYZ. But really you do. You make the time. So in the relationship of time, we got patience and resilience, life's rhythm, and the growth rings. When it comes to patience and resilience, trees teach us that meaningful growth takes time. Did you hear that? Trees teach us that meaningful growth takes time. And what do we describe time as? The river of rhythm. So when you talk about those bills, when you talk about that leg, when you talk about that stress, when you talk about that 9 to 5, when you talk about those responsibilities, I invite you to ask yourself, what rhythm and what river was I flowing in to create the reality in which I exist? What rhythm and river were you flowing in to where that pain manifested itself. Those bills manifested themselves. Those kids manifested themselves. Those responsibilities manifested themselves. What river, what rhythm, and what reality? Because ultimately it's your life. There are plenty of people on the street right now that saying, I ain't working that job. I work that corner. I asked these folks who got that bread, hey, what am I willing to do for $1? I'm willing to holler. What's up? Okay. You ain't got to go to that job if you don't want to. It's plenty of people who abandon their kids to the system. I'm not saying this right. You ain't got to take care of them kids. You don't have to. But then you got that pain. You can cut that leg off. You got them bills. Don't pay them bills. Yet all of those actions have a reaction. And that reaction will form a reality. And that reality will be in direct response to that rhythm. And that rhythm will create a river of experiences, whether you do or don't alike. So ultimately, what you're experiencing, whatever it is, good, bad, high, low, positive, negative, whatever it might be, it's a direct result of how you spend your time. How you spend your time. AKA how you dance in your rhythm, how you swim in your river of realities. Because ultimately it's your water. That river, that time, that's yours. What you do with it breeds what it is you want. So let's move on. Then we have life's rhythm. Become aware of your life's pace and allow time for reflection. And then trees, growth rings. Trees mark the passage of time, reminding us to pace ourselves in our personal growth. Allow time for reflection. When you ask yourself this question, how am I swimming in my river? How am I flowing in my rhythm? How am I existing in my reality? Reflect on those R's. In your river, and your rhythm, and your reality. Reflect on where are you? And do you even have a relationship with those R's in your life? Well, then if not, I wonder why the life might be hard. If you don't have a relationship with the R's in your life, the river, the rhythm, the reality, then wonder why responsibilities seem out of your reach. Why you always chasing? Why you always running? You running from the R's in your life and you want it to be less hard, but the more you run, the more you invite the R in the hard. Life don't gotta be hard, but it depends on your rhythm. It depends on how you swimming in your river. It depends on your reality that you decide. I'm not here to fix the R's. I'm bringing awareness and attention to it so you can decide what you want to do with your R's. Because we all got them. We all got rivers. We all got rhythms. We all got realities. What you choose to do with it is your choice. And trees remind us like those rings. Come on, more R's. Like those rings. Come on, more R's. They remind us that those rings are imprints to pace ourselves. Because it's a journey, not a destination. It's a journey, not a destination for that personal growth. Let me pull this back into the practical of my life and my aspect of time based on that job I was talking about and that responsibility of those finances. So when I was on the clock at this, what can I call this? I like to come up with names. Let's call it the green machine. I was working at the Green Machine. How about that? And if there's a company out there called Green Machine, this ain't directed towards you. It's a specific analogy and it's not directed towards you. I was working at the Green Machine and I found myself liking what I was getting paid for my time. I was flowing and swimming in the river in a rhythm that was like, man, all I got to do is hop on the computer, hop on the phone, and the Green Machine is going to pay me for being at home? Let's go. I'm gravy. I'm good. We in there. Yet over time, that green was all I saw. All I saw was that green, and I had no intention of what I even wanted to do with the green. I just wanted to make it because I didn't have it. And once I had it, I didn't know what to do with it. I spent it on food. I spent it on more trees that I was smoking. I spent it on stuff that like mattered, but didn't matter at the same time. Stuff that I'm not able to show for today. All that money I made and I only got this much to show for it today. Crazy. I gave my time to the green machine to make more green, but then eventually I saw the green fade away from my life. Physically, mentally, and emotionally. I saw it pile up in my savings, but I was spending it on bull, spending it on things that didn't increase. It only decreased. But then mentally, the green left because the opportunity, the optimism that comes with the color green. I was like, I don't want to do too much on the weekends because I'm just going to have to go in on Monday and work Monday through Friday. And I don't want to have to do anything after work because then I'm going to just be tired and I got to be ready to go to work tomorrow. The green machine started to take everything that I saw for myself more than just money. And it just framed it in a way of save all my energy for the green machine. And this isn't me blaming the machine. It's on me. I decided to give all my energy to the green machine to make more green and lost me. So emotionally, I became corroded and corrupted with green mold. I had too much green in my life, and therefore it became eroded on my soul. Because how I was spending my time, how I was swimming in my river, how I was flowing in my rhythm, and how I was existing in my reality at that time. It was dangerous. And that R led to what? Resources. What are resources? They're abundant providers, giving without expectation, and inner strength. They're abundant providers, giving without expectation and inner strength when it comes back to trees. Trees provide countless resources, including oxygen, wood, food, shade, and shelter for wildlife. Giving without expectation. Trees remind us to be mindful of our resources and use them wisely for our benefit and the benefit of others. Inner strength. We have innate resources within ourselves, skills, knowledge, and creativity. So how we look at it with trees, they provide us with so much life. The green machine provided me with opportunity, with resource of the green for my life. Yet how I used that green was unwise. The more I was lighting up trees, the less I was able to see me outside of the green. The green of the trees turned to ash when burned, and I was burning myself dry. There was a lack of resource in my mental and emotional and spiritual capacity because I was leaning on the green from the green machine and then using the green I made from the green machine to invest in things that I had to keep going into in order to feel more like me, which became an addiction. I was addicted to the green all around. And it's a relationship I'm still healing. To be honest with you, I'm still healing it. I ain't even past it. Not even gonna act like it. I'm still healing my relationship with the green in all areas. And what it is those resources. I'm learning to use them wisely. Yet at that point in time, man, I was spending it on all the wrong things. Maybe I shouldn't call it wrong. They were just unwise for where I was at that time, within that river, within that rhythm, within that reality. And that led to what? My energy, my innate resources, knowledge, and creativity not flowing in that river, in that rhythm, and in that reality. I became dependent upon greens that only took from my seeing and my being. I wasn't able to fully see in my being because I was only seeing that green. And then it flows right into the energy, that energy and emotion. The more I gave into it, the more, man, my emotions was corroded, boy. That energy exchange, that emotional balance, the transforming of emotions and managing internal energy. Trees absorb carbon dioxide and release oxygen, providing us with the energy to breathe and live. The emotional balance. Trees balance energy in nature, reminding us to regulate our emotions for well-being. Transforming emotions. Our emotions are like colors on a tapestry, and healing can transform negative emotions into positive ones. Trees teach us to manage our internal energy, releasing what no longer serves us and taking in what nourishes us. Before we even move on to the next one, do a little recap on the time, resources, and energy, that first part of the trees. Because of how I spend my time, because of how I spend my resources, I expended energy that I felt like I no longer had. And that put me in such a low space, such a low vibration. I was fearful. I was in the fearful state. And being in that fearful state, I became ignorant, I became judgmental, and I became complacent. I was ignorant, like, man, I don't know how to do that. I'm just going to escalate it. I was working at the green machine. If I don't know how to do it, escalate, resolve. I got to the point of, even though the conviction in me wanted to help people, because of my sight for the green, I was like, let me just do what I need to do to please the green machine so I can get my green and go home, even though I was already working at home. So then that turned into judgment. I'm like, man, look, bump this, bump that, bumped you. If Moses was coming on the phone, coming in the email upset with me for things I had nothing to do with, well, shoot, I really don't gotta help you now. Since you want to be like that, since you want to be angry, since you want to be bitter, since you want to be sad, since you want to have all this negative emotion, bump you. Think if I care, I could hit resolve and it never get escalated. I'm not saying I did that. But I'm saying I started to pass judgment on the very people I was called to help. And not only that, I started to pass judgment on myself. Like, man, what is you doing? You over here saying you want to help these people, but you ain't helping these people. You taking advantage of the machine and these people that's investing in your green. You ain't worth it. Nah, you low, you slow, you dumb, you stupid. You don't even deserve this green. You don't even deserve this green. Yet you keep going to make it. I had such a negative self-talk in that space because all I heard was negative self-talk on the phone. And then the managers of the green machine only cared about the KPIs, the metrics, the success. They didn't care about the process and how you got to the success. So in all levels of my investment in that green machine, I was deteriorating my morals, my values, my principles. And then that ultimately led to complacency, to where I was like, you know what? Bump it all. I'm gonna barely show up and I'm just gonna do a little bit and I'm just gonna waste the time. Cause I'm gonna still get paid whether I do the work or not. And I said, I'm just gonna coast. I ain't gonna grow. I ain't gonna learn. Look, bump you, bump that, give me my green. Peace. I got into a complacent state. I'm not gonna lie to you. And that changed me. That reality, that rhythm, that river changed me to where my emotions and my energy was all out of whack. I'm saying I wasn't talking to the people that I love to talk to the way the same. I wasn't talking to myself. I was barely showing up for work. I was barely showing up in life. Moses was asking me to go do stuff and I was slowly giving back into the survival strategy of distancing myself from love, from likes, from passion, from purpose. I was distancing myself. And then I was using a survival strategy of controlling to be like, you know what? I'm not going to do this. I'm not going to do this, but I'm going to get this. So not only was I distancing myself from things that helped me feel and be more of myself, I was attempting to control circumstances that were not inside of my control, but the ones that were inside of my control, I wasn't being myself with it. So I became egotistical. I became greedy. I became overindulgent. I wanted to belong so much that I started hanging out with the people who just smoke trees. If it wasn't myself, then it was around other people where if I didn't want to pay for the trees, I can hang with the people who hang in the trees. So that energy became contagious. The energy that I was feeling, the energy they was feeling, the energy that was being transmuted from the green machine through me to you. Not necessarily you, but the version of who I was serving at that time. It was all eroded. It was all molded with green mold. And that then breeded a garden. That breeded the environment in which I engaged. And that environment was the ecosystem backbone. See, trees support countless species by providing food, shelter, and protection. They seed and receive. See, we are deeply connected to our environment, participating in a cycle of seed and receive. Not give and take. You seed and receive. And within that sacred space, you can create something that's so beautiful that supports that healing and growth. And that becomes this thriving community. Trees thrive in community, reminding us to engage with our environment and communities for mutual support. The sacred energetic life force. The sacred energetic life force is a divine spark. It connects us. It connects you to the infinite wisdom of our what? Our inner essence, the purpose, values, and life force rooted in what? That grounded energy that nurtures and protects our sacred energy. By doing what? Rooting and anchoring in the earth, which draws on that nourishment. So you see, all of this works together. The root system of the trees, they anchor themselves in a foundation, an eternal rock that you can pull nutrients and nourishment from. And by grounding in that space, you're able to nurture and protect what is sacred to you, what is unique to you. And then that ends up embodying the essence. It breeds the essence of that purpose, values, and life force that you get to move throughout life with, that connects us to the infinite wisdom of our divine spark. This is beautiful, man. So to come back to the story, I got so low to a certain point that I no longer wanted to engage in my sacred energetic life force. I no longer wanted to engage in myself. My aces became so full in my hand, those adverse childhood experiences that became uprooted from an experience with the green machine and only seeing green and only smoking green. So all I was green. That I became naive to the value of my life. And at a certain point in time, he no longer wanted to be here. And as wild as it is for those of you who do know me, like, what? MYCOL didn't want to be here? There was a point in time where I wasn't myself. And there was so much overwhelm inside, on, and around me that I became so distant, so controlling, and wanting to belong to something that wasn't mine for so long, I didn't even recognize myself. My saving grace were the trees around me. My partner, my mother, my father, my community of trees saved my life. They poured life into me. They poured words, they poured enrichment, they poured nourishment, they poured grounding. They would not let me lose myself to myself. Because the thing about the sacred energetic life force, it's infinite. So you got the positive and the negatives. Yet you choose your reality. Do you want to thrive in the negative? Do you want to thrive in the positive? It's up to you. It's truly up to you. And in that space, in that time, in that environment, I wouldn't be here without him. I wouldn't be out here. I wouldn't be here without the trees in my life that gave me the fruit for me to realize the truth of I am here for a divine root, deeply threaded so deep in my bloodline that I am going to change the rest of the generations moving forward. But the life I live today. So what did I do? I had to shift the way I spent my time. I had to shift the way I swam in the river of my rhythm, of my reality. So instead of just being inside all the time, I had to go outside, and I literally would just sit with the trees. I sat with the trees and allowed them to pour into me, because the people around me only had so much time, only had so much resource, only had so much energy to pour into me. They poured what they could, as much as they could. And once they did that and got me to a certain level of equilibrium, a level of homeostasis, a level out of danger, out of fear, now the work was on me. I leaned on my support system, but now it was time for me to support me, support myself in that journey. So I had to shift the way I saw my time. I had to shift the way I saw my rhythm. I had to shift the way I spent it. So I spent less time smoking trees and more time with spoken trees. I allowed the trees to speak with me by listening to nature. I started to listen to the wind. I know this might sound like some woo craziness. I literally started to listen to the wind. Things I took for granted. I was like, man, had I had took my life, I wouldn't be able to hear the wind anymore. I wouldn't be able to see the sun anymore. I wouldn't be able to feel the trees anymore. Bro, nah, I was tripping. You telling me I wouldn't be able to reach and love the trees in my life anymore? I wouldn't be able to hug and kiss on my lady no more? I wouldn't be able to have divine conversations with my mama anymore? I wouldn't be able to laugh and joke with my pops, my homies, my friends anymore? Nah. Couldn't be me. I still want to experience that. I still am going to experience that. And I'm going to be grateful for these small, seemingly insignificant aspects of my life. I'm going to put that green on hold, and I'm going to focus on what's true in my life. What's been there with and without the green, always holding me together. The trees in my life have weaved my life so I can breathe in life. And that led to new resources. I didn't look at my resources like, if I ain't got money, I ain't got nothing. If I ain't got green, I ain't got nothing. If I ain't got weed, I ain't got nothing. I had to shift the way that I saw my resources and said, man, unfortunately, there are so many people that go through that low moment and don't access the awareness they have to the trees in their life. Whether it's in the people, whether it's in the environment, or whether it's out in nature, or whether it's in yourself. There's trees inside of you that want to breathe life, but you blocking the blessing. When you have an intuitive gut saying, nah, I don't do that. When you get a ringing in your ear that's like, nah, I don't do that. When you get an inner sense in knowing, or you have a dream that's like, nah, I don't do that. But then you go do that? That ain't on nobody but you. You did that to you. When you don't listen, when you don't feel, when you don't sense, when you don't trust, when you don't accept, you did that to you. Whatever poor experience that you are not liking right now, that's because you haven't been listening to something deeper inside of you, guiding you to what you really want for you. So when you feel that deeper, intense feeling in your gut that's like, nah, don't go that way. Go this way. Lean in. Lean in. When you hear that the ringing in your ear, left or right, both at the same time, lean in. You don't have to know everything about it, but lean into it. Don't ignore it and try and put music over it. Don't ignore it and try and get something taken out of your ear. Don't ignore it and try and go to somebody else who's going to tell you something wrong with you. Lean in. When you have those dreams that show you a vision that only you can see, lean in. Because there's more for you in the lean. There's more for you in the green. There's more for you in your being. When we look at it one-dimensionally, we only see the green. We only see the lean. We only see the being. Yet they all are flowing together. So lean in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, in, out, hey, in, out, hey, in, out, hey. Do this with your life every day. Lean in and out of it. Rock that boat, rock the boat, rock the boat, rock the boat every day. Lean in and out. Lean in and out of your resources so you can learn to build a harmonious relationship with it to where you're interdependent. You're not trying to do it by yourself, but you're not only leaning on the people that are there for you. There's an interdependence where it's a harmony of you were in co and you were in self. You were in co and you were in self. You were in co and you were in self. And in that, it becomes an us. And that us is the foundation for trust. There's no trust without us. It happens harmoniously with 1, 2, or more parties. Shall I say 1, 2, and more parties? We have to trust. And by shifting my perspective on those resources, I was able to breathe new energy where I was like, man, I do want to live. I do want to love. I want to live. I want to love. And I want to experience what life has for me. I don't want to look at life like it's happening to me. How can I look at life like it's happening for me? It's unfolding in my favor. So you know what I did? Instead of spending that money on trees, spending that money on food, spending that money on things I wasn't going to use after a certain period of time, I said, I'm going to invest this in things that actually pour back into me. All of this green that I'm making from the machine, I got to put it back into me. So every time I get paid, I would put a certain amount of money just for me. Yet it had to be progressive for me. It had to be an asset for my life. Because I saw what the other side did. I saw where it was going. And it's not what I desired. That destruction is not what we need. So my energy started to shift. My emotions started to shift. I started to see why and how shadow work is so important. Because when you're in that low state, when you're in that dark state, when you try and just blind it out and just focus on the light of what's in your life, this space begins to grow. And the more it grows, the more it stacks. And more it stacks, it adds to those ACEs, those adverse childhood experiences, which feed our survival strategies. And if we're only in survival, how can we thrive? You got all these cards in your hand talking about you want this, you want to do that, you need this. When you gonna play your hand? When you gonna let go of the ace so you can fly? So you can thrive? Those emotions you holding on ain't serving you no more. So let's work through it. Let's break down that ace so we can play it. And we can conquer that spade, and then we can take that book, that lesson, that journey, that adventure, and we can store it for someone else to be served. Instead of holding it in your hand, you can put it into a book, aka means you can transmute that energy into something that can be useful for you and for others. Trees represent a beneficial, harmonious relationship between us and the environment. I was going to go in a more scientific aspect of this journey, Yet the coach is like, nah, we staying right here. Y'all don't need the science. You can go look up the science online. This is what needs to be applied in your life today, right now. Where are the trees in your life? The environment. Our environment has so much impact on our lives. Yet the environment we wake and rest to every day is our mind, is our emotion, is our body. So you can complain about the world outside all day, but how's your world inside? What's going on inside of you? How's your temple of your trees inside of you? Because maybe the internal world is reflecting outwardly in what you don't like. Ooh, so you mean that judgment is not just on a me or them, a person thing. You mean judgment can also be passed on to states? The state of being, the state of environment, the state of location. You can be judgmental on the energy around you that's just been manifested from what's inside of you? How's that serving you? By judging what's around you instead of looking at what's inside of you. See, we don't just judge people. We don't just judge ourselves. We judge everything that's around us when we're out of harmony. Now, I do know the power of traveling. Sometimes you got to take a step outside of your environment. So when I was in the house all day working with the green machine, I had to start going outside and sitting with the trees. I didn't have the mindset of, well, let me go to Cancun and let me go here. Now, I did take trips, but it wasn't until I intentionally traveled to something inside of my ecosystem that could serve me with the least amount of green needed, because the more I spent green, the more I felt I needed the machine. The more I spent green, the more I felt like I needed the machine. So I told myself, I'm going to go serve me and get served in places that don't require green. So I went outside because trees are green that's all around us. You can go to a park. There's trees in the alleyway. I didn't even go to a park. I was in the trees in the sewer and they still had messages and growth for me. Trees in the dump, trees in the sewer still served me. Because when I sat down and I was silent and I listened and I reflected and I evaluated and I asked and I took time and I received and I gave help and I expressed and I breathed, I learned that the trees asked me to be in service to them as they were in service to me. I started to go outside and instead of smoking, I just go eat some bananas. I'd eat some apples. And normally, it's the alleyway, I would just go throw it away in the trash can. I would go throw it away in the dump. And by listening and removing all of that clutter out of my mind, my emotions, and my space, I heard the trees say to me, we want what you throw away. We need what you throw away. The world calls it littering. We call that life. When you eat life, the waste is still life for more life. We want that. Give that to us. And I was like, am I tripping? They were like, give that to us. And I was like, how? They said, just walk. So I walked to the nearest tree and they said, toss. And I tossed the banana peel. They said, thank you. When I tell you, when a tree told me thank you for the first time, it changed my life. Something that has been serving me with breath, because without breath, ain't none of us breathing, ain't none of us here. All of my life, trees have served me with clean, breathing air to live and recycle with. And all they wanted me to do was when I was done with my apple, give them the core. When I was done with my banana, give them the peel. That's all you want? Here you go. If that's all you want, you saying that I don't have to spend any green Okay, the apples and the fruits cost green when you go to the grocery store. But when you got apple trees, when you got banana trees, you don't need to spend no green for that. You don't need to spend no green from the garden in which everything grows. Oh, because those seeds receive. And when you receive, you seed. So you seed and receive. There's no green needed. You just seed and receive. And green flows. That's magic, baby. So literally, the fact that all I had to do was give them my waste of what I would throw away, and they would bless my life and allow me to not want to off myself. Here you go. Here you go. Every time I ate, here you go. I'd find a new tree within my proximity and give it my produce. I'm eating life. Let me go give some more life. I'm eating life. Let me go give some more life. And the more that I gave, the more I received. The more that I seeded, the more I received it. And I started to see that, man, I may not be helping people how I want to at the green machine, yet the green machine that we call Earth, I can help every day. And it doesn't cost me more than $1, more than $2, more than $3. It doesn't cost me anything but my time to seed and receive with the trees. So let me use the resource of my time, my river, my rhythm, my reality. And let me use that energy from the resources to give to my environment and engage in a new relationship. And by engaging in my environment and creating a new relationship, my sacred energy, life force expanded. It grew. It evolved. And I was able to see myself and see the trees in my life in a whole new light. In a whole new light. And that's how trees saved my life. Literally. I went from smoking trees to speaking with them. They went from speaking with me to breathing with me. They went from seeding with me to receiving me. And it allowed me to see, oh, so this is how you live life with the people in your life. This is how you live life with the purpose in your life. This is how you live life with the passion in your life, with the craft in your life, with your creativity. Trees taught me how to seed and receive. And that is a formula. That is a framework that works for business, that works for relationships, that works for anything that is fruit producing. Anything that has a seed integrates in the seed and receive process. And you don't need a lot of green to seed and receive. Man, I could talk about this for days, yet I appreciate you all being here. If you have any questions, please hit me up. You can hit the description below for the questions for study hall. We'll dive deeper into this and have more group conversations and how to seed and receive in our lives, and diving deeper into this trees framework of time, resource, energy, environment, and self, but also how to break down your breakthrough, to see it, to become someone new. I thank you all for being in this space. We are having a program coming up. If you're watching this in current live time, it will be live in December, where you can join, most likely November, where you can join the shadow program. It's called the Shine Your Shade program. And it's for those who don't know what or how to do with the energy, with the muck, with the mold in their lives. If you don't know what to do with the mold in your lives, the mold in your mind, the mold in your heart, the mold in your body, then the Shine Your Shade program is for you, because we're going to shine the light on that darkness, expose some truth so we can reveal the healing component that exists inside of you. And it's a powerful program. It's not just me. It's also other wellness and healing practitioners that are all pouring into you for you to have a guide of how to change your life, going from fearful to fearless. Man, this has been beautiful. If any of this resonates with you, drop a comment below, and I look forward to seeing you in the next video. My name is MYCOL. Peace. Let's go.